I'm really, really sorry. So yes, I was supposed to make a video for this channel a very long time ago, and yes, I have used some pretty terrible excuses for not having made a video on this channel by now. But the day has finally come where I will finally make a video for you. I'm really sorry. Today, I'm going to talk to you about The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Now, there are a few things about this book that I really need to explain contextually so that it makes more sense. Most of you probably know this, but that's not the right word. Most of you probably know this, but Oscar Wilde was homosexual. And he had a trial against his homosexuality and he was actually sent to prison for it. The version he released was actually the second draft of his book because the first draft had too many homosexual references in it. Even this draft is pretty gay. I mean, it's the gayest book I've ever read without actually being gay, so... It's like mild slash fiction, maybe. Let me show you an example. This is a quote from the character of Basil in chapter 1 when he's talking about Dorian. "As long as I live, the personality of Dorian Gray will dominate me. You can't feel what I feel." I mean, he loves him, basically. Basil Hallward is the artist who paints the picture of Dorian Gray that's in the title of the novel. Now, I'm sure most of you probably know the story because it's quite a well-known story, but what happens basically is Dorian wishes to remain forever young and beautiful like the painting. And what happens is his wish comes true. So as Dorian becomes influenced by the character of Lord Henry Wotton to live a more sinful and aesthetic life, the painting starts to change and become disgusting and old, whereas he remains young and beautiful just as he wished. However, having the painting looming in the attic starts to drive him insane, and I'm not going to give away the ending because it's good. It's really good. Now, Oscar Wilde only ever wrote one novel in his life, which is this. He's very renowned for his plays, such as The Importance of Being Earnest, and sometimes that comes through in this novel. For example, the characters have really, really interesting dialogue, because in a play you sort of have to be carried by the dialogue, whereas in a novel you can have more descriptions to make it more interesting. For example, the character of Lord Henry Wotton has some fantastic paradoxical statements and just some great sayings in the novel that just are amazing. For example, "There is only one thing worse in the world than being talked about, and that is not being talked about. I choose my friends for their good looks, my acquaintances for their good characters, and my enemies for their good intellects. I don't desire to change anything in England except the weather." But what I think is the most interesting thing about this book is the reaction it got at the time it was released to the reaction it gets by readers now. Now, when I read this, I just thought, oh yeah, that's a really cool story. Yeah, it's a little bit gay. Oh my god. It's a bit crazy, whoa, everyone's getting really sinful and mad. But it didn't offend me in any way, it just made me think. Whereas people at the time were very offended by this book, and it was even deemed to be a poisonous and sinful book at the time. And not just because of the homoerotic undertones. Oscar Wilde in this novel digs quite a lot at the way that the upper class in Victorian times would have seen society and just their characters in general. He perceived them as people who were very aesthetic focused and cared more about what they looked like in society than the general overview of society. Like, they pretended that the lower down people in society didn't exist so that they were all high and mighty and stuff. And the novel is basically questioning what happens if you go too far and you lose a sense of morality because of your aestheticism. But at the time, Oscar Wilde argued that his novel wasn't the thing that was sinful, that people brought their own sins to the novel, and I thought that was a really interesting concept. This is just an example, but say someone at the time, or even now, is homophobic and they read the novel, they would think, oh, this book is really bad, it has gay people in it, what? Whereas because I don't find gay people offensive in any way, the book doesn't offend me in any way because of the homoerotic nature in it. It does make you question whether the books that you like and dislike have anything to do with your personality as a whole. As Oscar Wilde says at the end of the preface, all art is quite useless, and the art itself isn't doing anything other than provoking a reaction, and the people who react are the ones that have committed the sins, is basically what he's saying. So yes, I really, really, really love this book, so please, please read it and let me know what you thought and how you reacted to it, whether you thought it was shocking or just interesting like I did. And I promise I will make more videos for this channel soon and do them properly.